rejection and sometimes it's hard to deal with, but it's also, it's also necessary for you to figure out how bad you want something.
Hey, Bomb Squad. You're listening to Radio Cherry Bomb, and I'm your guest host, V. Spear from TikTok's Under the Desk News, filling in for host Carrie Diamond, who is on vacation. We're coming to you from Newsstand Studios at Rockefeller Center in the heart of New York City. Today's guest is Chef Dawn Burrell, who made it to the top 3 in the most recent season of Top Chef. Chef Dawn is in New York City today and just walked over from the Today Show. I am so excited to get to talk to her. Let's find out what it was like trying to wow Tom, Padma, and Gail during Top Chef Season 18 and what Dawn's game plan was. We'll also talk about her time as an Olympic athlete, competing in the Sydney Olympics in the year 2000, and how that focus and discipline helped her in Top Chef. If you haven't watched Season 18 yet, one thing to note, there are spoilers ahead. Today's show is brought to you by Free People. Don't miss the Cherry Bomb Free People Summer Supper Club, featuring food stylist Mariana Velasquez and Chef Tara Thomas. Watch their videos on the Free People YouTube channel to get Mariana and Tara's plant-based recipes and learn their tips and tricks. A little light housekeeping from Cherry Bomb HQ. On August 16th from 6 to 8 p.m., Cherry Bomb is celebrating Julia Child's 109th birthday and their special Julia Child issue. Join the team at the Bungalow at Brookfield Place in Manhattan for birthday cake, sprinkles cupcakes, and a special pop-up shop. The event is free, but you do need to RSVP. So visit cherrybomb.com for more. Now, here's my interview with Chef Dawn Burrell. So, Chef Dawn, thank you for being here. I am so excited to get to know you a little bit better.
Thanks for having me. I am really excited. Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to start off at the beginning, and we're going to go through the journey of what has been your life for the last decades or so. No bigs, right?
Whatever.
So tell me first, what was it like growing up in Philly?
Growing up in Philly, when you're a child, you don't really know, what's happening in your family life. I enjoyed, being in a city that's kind of densely populated and, row homes and things like that. And you don't really recognize that you're poor always, or that these are not row homes. Maybe they're the projects. So my life was really fun. I would go outside and play all day with my friends and things like that. So I come from a household with a single parent. My mother was a single parent of 5. I am the youngest. And she just made it happen for us always, and sometimes we had to split up. Sometimes we didn't. I always found it to be fun somehow, but there were true trials that I can reflect on now that I'm an adult. I can say that, it was good. Life was good.
Were you cooking as a kid?
I was. Sometimes when I was staying with my cousin, I would kind of sneak and make candy and things like that. Things that children should not be doing, but I had a really major sweet tooth as a child. So I would just heat up some maple and some sugar and put some flavoring in it and then put it in the freezer, and I had my own candy, right? And I was like, oh. Well, one time I burned my finger.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I dripped some of that molten hot lava on my finger, and I could not stop crying, but I had to hide it.
Of course.
Because I wasn't supposed to be doing it in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, so.
We share that. I also grew up not knowing if we were rich, if we were poor, what it was. But I similarly also started off cooking very young. I think it's such an interesting thing that happens when you have that kind of latchkey kid freedom.
Yes.
Where you're taking care of your sibling.
Yeah, or they were taking care of me, because I was the baby.
Oh, see, I'm the oldest. Yeah, we were taking care of you.
Y'all were taking care of me, and so, or my neighbor would be, doing that, and I had some great neighbors. Like we would bake cookies and pies and things like that. People around me that would nurture that thing that I loved that I didn't really know why. I thought it was just, I really want to eat something sweet. But really, it was just something that I was fascinated about as a child.
Yeah, that creativity outlet.
Yeah.
Right?
And food was important, so yeah.
So what fuels a high school track start? Because you started very early with your career in track and field. Was it What was that born out of?
It's regional, right? In Texas, like they have those little babies 5 and 6 years old running around that track. And I'm like, oh, they're too young. They're going to burn out too quickly. But in the Philadelphia area, you don't normally start until you're like 13 or 14. Or, in my case, I ran 1 year in 7th grade. And then I took 8th and 9th grade years off and continued on my 10th grade year. And it was only because I was a huge basketball fanatic. Like, I loved it. I wasn't very good at it, but I still liked it. My brother told me that track and field would be a better choice for me as far as sports are concerned. And he really convinced me to do it. I remember it was a grocery store walk that we were taking. And he I'm telling you, Dawn, you'll be so amazing at it. You just have to give it a try. I know basketball. You love it. But I think you need to run.
And is this Leroy, the big brother?
Leroy.
All right.
This is Leroy, yeah. And he was right, and I listened to him for once in my life. He's my brother closest in age, and he's the one who helped me get back on the right track as far as sports are concerned. So, yeah.
He was in track as well at this time, yeah?
Yeah, so he was, I think that we had this conversation when he was a sophomore at University of Houston. And he found pleasure in it. He found success in the sport early on. And he knew that I could do the same thing if I applied myself.
And you sure did.
And I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Olympics and the long jump. What drew you to long jump?
I always long jumped. That was my first event, actually, when I started competing outside of middle school or junior high school in my region. And I ventured out from long jump to other sports. So from long jump, I competed in the hurdles in 100 and 200 meters. And I don't know, it's just something about it that I not only that I love, but I was good at almost immediately. Like I was always a little, explosive little person just running around, jumping off of everything. And I enjoy taking flight, and just being like free in the air. And so I think that's why I developed well within that event more than anything.
Gives a whole new meaning to Philadelphia Eagle, right?
There you go. Yeah.
We're flying. I love that. So obviously the Olympics are on right now, and you're looking back, on your career and also what's going on with the athletes now. How do you think the games have changed over the last 20 years?
The effort that the athletes put in, I mean, it's the same. Of course, there are new modern developments and training systems, and as you better understand your body, or as those that are training people better understand how to get the most out of an athlete. I think that they're able to accomplish a little bit more. I see that, some of the times are better, some of the distance are a little bit better. This is a very successful year for track and field. There were lots of things, records broken, and I think it's great. Like it shows. It shows progress. And if we're not progressing as a sport, like through history, people have run progressively faster. Once we, technology, gets into the equation, with new sports and new clothes and different things like that will increase your time. New surfaces that you run on.
All that's changed, huh?
All of that has changed.
Wow.
And there are more modern surfaces to run and compete on now than there were 20 years ago, which is amazing.
I never thought of that you're actually running on different technology as well.
Yeah, you're running. Yep, exactly.
And the
you're running in
the
it
whole
and on
thing.
it. Yeah,
the whole thing is different.
Yeah, so all of these add to performance enhancing, as well as modern takes on what you get out of an athlete, how you train an athlete to make sure that they're best shape without injury. One of the most impactful things is social media now.
Yeah.
It's amazing for athletes. Our worlds were so different between 2020 and now. You have like a direct line to your fan base, which is great for the athlete because you don't ever really know, how many people are actually out there rooting for you.
Yeah.
And I think that this is I'm sure it has to feel good for the athletes right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just people are so much more accessible, which allows other people to even know these sports exist so they can get interested themselves in taking that path.
Exactly. And then you can share your full meaningful life as well, like your practices, you know, how hard you work, you know, which builds appreciation for your fan base. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course. There's been a lot of talk in the news about the pressure, especially on a national stage with sponsors, like you said, the social media, the 24-hour news coverage. Never mind, it's happening during a pandemic. How did you prepare yourself at that time for the pressure of competing in front of a national audience? When you're at the Olympics, are you really like conscious of people watching, or are you just laser focused on your craft?
I would say, as you're entering the stadium and as you're warming up, you do feel the crowd and the people watching you. But when it's your time to compete, you're normally focused in and zoned in on what you're doing. You know, that moment that you worked for 4 years or 8 years or whatever it is, like that moment is yours and you have to make the most out of it. So you're there with that. But I mean, pressure is very real. You know, and we've all dealt with it and we all deal with it very differently, and it's your own, you know, to bear. So you can't really speak on how someone else should, you know, how much pressure that someone should feel in a situation, especially if you've never experienced anything like it. So
folks have said this year that not having the crowd actually contributed to even more pressure or more feeling alone, or like you can't see who's there for you. You just hear what's going on in the noise in the background. How do you think that's affecting people's performance, not having the crowd and that energy coming at you?
The crowd's energy is very real.
Makes it.
Yes. You can pull your motivation from somewhere else. You know, it depends on how mentally strong you are and how mentally you're prepared for that moment, and how much you rely on the energy of the crowd. All of these things that are very, very individual, you know, takes on your own experience in that moment. Like the person next to you and be like, oh, great, I'm so glad they're not here. You know, so now I could, like, I'm about to kill this race. And you could be like, oh man, I really needed that extra energy boost from the crowd. It just depends on who you are as an athlete and how you deal with every moment. For me, I would know that I prepared for this moment, and whether they're watching or not, right now, right here, this is me, and it's my chance.
So both your brother, Leroy, and his wife, gold medal Olympians.
Yes.
Their son, also getting into track and breaking records in high school, going crazy.
Yeah.
What is it like as a family? Are you competing with each other? Do you guys race each other? Is it just like a family thing?
It's a family thing.
Nice.
We support each other.
Yeah.
You know, I would not be the athlete that I was. I would not have been the athlete if it wasn't for my brother. Like I had this endless support, along with Michelle during that time period, and encouragement from someone who's actually gone through it. My brother's also a two-time former world record holder. I don't know if you know that. And so he was one of the elite sprinters in the most glamorous event on the track, and so his pressure was very specific. You know, he was on the upper echelon of track and field athletes, so to speak. Yeah. So it's really nice to have that type of encouragement and advice. That wealth of advice in my family.
I can tell you're so proud of him.
Oh, I am. I am. And I'm proud of Cameron, too. You know, Cameron suffered from a lot of injury, my nephew. And he's fully capable of he is an elite athlete.
Absolutely.
Like, he is so laser focused on what he's doing athletically. And he had some, mental recovery to go through because he was not able to compete in the trials. But there's another Olympiad coming in 3 years, so he'll be ready. He'll be ready for it. He'll be more mature. He'll be in shape. He will be healthy. And I really believe that he's going to do something really big then. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, we'll be rooting for him for sure.
Yeah.
So this is a food pod, so I have to ask, how is the food at the Olympics? Was it good?
I mean,
do you cook for yourself out there? Are you kind of, is it just almonds? What's the food like?
Okay, so there's a wealth of food in the Olympic Village. There's everything that you can ever imagine that you want to eat 24 hours a day. And that's really beautiful. It's nice to have. I mean, but I was a young athlete. Like, I was like, oh, I'm going to get a little bit of this, maybe some fish here, some shrimp, some lobster. I want that McDonald's this evening. Yeah. That's what I want. And I hate to admit, I'm sorry. But I don't eat
First of all, You know why they sell so many hamburgers? It's delicious. I'm not here to shame the McDonald's, right?
Right. Exactly. So, and then just to have it all day, every day, it was pretty awesome. Especially if you're a young athlete, it's like, it's just a dream come true.
Yeah,
food wise, but it was good. It was nourishing. As an athlete, and those in that system, and I'm there. I have to think about what I'm eating, what I need to do next. In order to perform. So I would not always indulge. Sure. I would kind of, plan my meals. So it was not a free-for-all for me, but it's definitely nice to have all those things at my disposal.
But they have everything.
Everything.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. So I'm always so interested in what's going on with the food behind the scenes of things.
At one time I aspired to be a chef because, they hire a chef. And I was like, maybe I want to do that one day. Maybe I want to... I don't know, maybe for a week. Like do like some sort of elite chef's table for some sport. I would like to feed my own sport, of course, but no, we'll see.
That'd be pretty cool.
If I can ever make that happen.
Going back to the Olympics, but as the chef this time.
Yes.
That'd be fantastic, especially if you got to feed the track and field folks. Like that would be just such a unique kind of like full circle moment.
Right.
I'm sure they'd be glad to have you.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Whoever's listening from the Olympics, make it happen.
It could happen.
Speaking of making it happen, the Olympics, an accomplishment all on its own. Not enough. Now we're also going to be on Top Chef, the most beloved, I'm going to say it, the most beloved food competition show on TV probably in the last decade, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about Top Chef and start me maybe at like your audition. Like you had a moment one day where you were like, you know what, I'm gonna try out. What was that like?
Well, I started my application process well before I was ready.
Yeah.
This is how badly I wanted to be on this show. I knew that one day I was going to make it and they were going to say yes. So I am going to practice. I practice everything. I'm going to practice interviewing. I'm going to practice filling out this application 100%. I'm going to, through this process, I'm going to figure out more about myself through all the questions that they ask. It was a work in progress. I think I've applied like 4 times.
Yeah. You have to be persistent.
Yes, I have to be persistent. But it was also for practice for me. Like, because I knew, like, I did not want to necessarily be on the show at that time period that I was. But I was applying the first and second time, but I knew that eventually they would say yes, and eventually I'll be ready. So they came together.
I think that's such
moment,
great and important advice because there are so many folks now looking to move from the kitchen to in front of the cameras, or maybe didn't have experience as a chef in a kitchen, but are an excellent home cook or professional chef or caterer, and they're wanting to move in front of the camera. So it's good to hear, you can expect to audition several times and you have to be persistent.
Yes. Definitely don't give up on your first no or your second no, not even your third, because, you just want to, you have to figure out within yourself how bad you really want it. Rejection, and sometimes it's hard to deal with, but it's also, it's also necessary for you to figure out how bad you want something.
Is there any advice you have for chefs out there who are preparing to hit the culinary media audition circuit?
I would say know who you are as a chef, and to make sure that you're cooking your food, and make sure that your skill set is going to be competitive. Those are 3 important things that I would say. And make sure you challenge yourself also.
Because they're going to get you on the technicality.
They're going to get you.
They're going to get you.
Yeah.
And you're quarantined essentially, not just because of the pandemic year, but you guys you're segregated out alone. Is this one of the ones where you have your cell phone or any support, or you're just there?
You are there in a bubble.
You're in the bubble.
You are cooking off the top of your head.
Wow, okay.
And you are challenged physically and mentally to create these dishes on the fly. And I'm made for competition, right?
Yeah.
Like it or love it, that's who I am, and I embrace it fully. I'm not searching for anything for validation. It's just I really like the heat of it. And the adrenaline that I get from competition. You just have to make sure as a person you're able to embrace those moments and dig deep, even when you're tired, mentally and physically, to get the job done. And that's what Top Chef was about. You also meet great people.
Of course.
So that's also another part of it. I don't want to make it seem like, oh,
no,
you're like, wake up and cook. No, it's like, well, it is kind of like that, but it's also you get to meet great people.
Yeah, you're there to do a job.
Yeah.
Something that you said was know your food, right? Did you find that you had to tailor any of your food to fit the judges' preferences for the show?
No.
Never. Because they say don't do Indian for Padma, but you didn't. You were like, I'm doing me all the way through.
Yes, absolutely. And if that was my style of cooking and my natural thing that I gravitated toward, I would absolutely do Indian for Padma.
Yeah.
Because, if it's part of me or I've made it part of me, whether through culture or studying it, I wouldn't be afraid to present it because I really believe in what it is that I'm serving. And that's what you have to stick behind your food like that. You know, believe it with all of your heart and soul. Make sure that you put yourself on that plate so it's undeniable.
Right. And if you live and die by it, if you get Top Chef for that week, awesome. If you didn't, it was still your food. That's the important part.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly it.
Because folks at home are going to remember you for if you cook somebody else's food and that's why you went out, they're going to be sad.
Yeah. They're going to be sad. And also, if there's something that's not quite authentic about cooking something that's outside of what you've honed or what you've nurtured along the way. And audience can tell, not even judges, maybe the people at home can tell as well. So.
Yeah, because they fall in love with you too, right? They're tuning in every week for the dishes, but also for that person.
Right.
And there's so many different type of personalities on the show that make it such an eclectic and wonderful program. You said that this season is more reflective of real kitchens because of the diversity, not just in the cast of season 18, but also in the challenges. Which challenge was most meaningful to you?
There were several, but not just because I won it, but the African Diasporan Challenge was really amazing. It was the first time that the food of the diaspora was brought on that stage and up to that caliber, and all for the world to see. And it was a great moment for me. So that was by far my favorite.
Walk me through the making your dish for that particular episode. You heard that this was going to be the challenge.
Yes.
And then what started going through your mind?
I knew that I was going to make something jerk or madras curry. Those are my two dishes that I really love. And I think they're just soothing to the soul for me. And I was like, these are the things that I'm going to make. And I know automatically. And then we were scrambling and getting our proteins. And I did not get the protein that I wanted. Someone else grabbed it.
Got to pivot.
Yeah, pivot. I think it was Maria. Maria took all the oxtails. I was going to make an oxtail curry, something like that. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let this stop me. In fact, once she grabbed it, I just stood back and let them just, go crazy over the proteins. And I'm like, okay, what's left? And then I was like, goat. I was like, perfect. And it's cut up, and so
I'm ready to go.
I'm there, and so that's why I landed on that particular dish.
Yes, and that was the dish that won.
Yes, because you can go in with a plan on Top Chef and you have to completely pivot because something happened or something wasn't there or someone's I'm going to say stole your protein, Yeah. When
you're present in these challenges, it is that sort of calculation you're making that you would make as an athlete or as any sort of, architect even. How important is it to be present when you're getting these challenges and when you're cooking this food with all the cameras and the heat and everything else going on? How do you keep your mentality?
I don't know. I think that it's just important to focus on what everyone's saying, focus on the challenge, make plans for what it is that you're going to do, and you have to be able to adapt easily.
Yeah.
And for all of that, you have to kind of be able to endure the stress of the moment, is what I'd have to say. I think that you have to be nimble. I almost said that word.
You got to be nimble. I love it.
You have to be nimble, yeah.
Do you think that cooking for yourself growing up and kind of doing a mix of what's available to you helped you? Did that mentality help you in Top Chef of being able to adapt so nimbly?
Yeah, I think so. Cooking for yourself helps. In the raw of it, honestly, people who cook at home, you look in the refrigerator. It's what you have. I don't have this thing, but I have this other thing. It'll do just fine.
Yeah.
And my meal's going to be great.
Be playful.
Be playful. And that's what it's about. It's like you have to be very flexible. And that is actually what Top Chef requires. Flexibility in your cooking equipment, flexibility with your partner that they may assign you with, to flexibility in how you have to shop for your ingredients in the moment, because that always change too. Flexibility with what you're able to use, because sometimes like in one challenge they were like, oh, we have a surprise and you only can choose one aromatic to use, which means I could either use shallots, onions, or garlic, but not all of them. Just one. What do I choose? Because this one had shallots, garlic, and onions in it. So so now which one do I want? And that's the challenge, and you just meet it. Just staying playful, staying nimble, staying playful, exactly. Persistent, and knowing your food. Yes. Who was your Top Chef bestie? Girl.
Jamie. I know.
Jamie.
Jamie, absolutely.
Jamie's my bestie.
Yeah, tell me about Jamie. What helped you and Jamie get through?
Jamie is fun. She's lighthearted. She's always on, but so you don't really know what's going on and how calculated she is, but she is extremely calculated. She's an excellent cook, and she's a really good friend. And and I'm happy that I met her through this show. She's so cool.
Did you have a favorite judge?
I like them all. I spent the most time with Tom, because he walks the floor and he speaks with us, and he's really encouraging. Good. And so I had some really meaningful moments with him. Gail and Padma were both encouraging after we wrapped, and so I think that they were all really fun.
Did Tom sing for you guys ever? I know he loves to play guitar and sing.
He did not sing for us.
He did not? He denied you his vocal stylings?
I wasn't aware of that. Such a talent that he had.
He's a 6-string bandit. Yeah, getting hot. Maybe next time. Maybe for All Stars.
Right.
Maybe.
I'm going to have to search for that, but I want to see some video of that.
Oh, he performed on Radio Cherry Bomb's talent show. It was awesome. Yes. It was a performance I shall never forget myself. So you have also said about your cooking that rice is life. I heard this in another interview, and I've been thinking about it ever since. Tell me about the importance of rice in your food.
There are two takes. When I was working at Uchi, the Japanese chef there would always say, rice is life. And I've morphed it since then as into rice. Rice is culture, because there are so many cultures that rely on rice to feed their people, their communities. That it is cultural, and to have a grain be so important in Asian countries, and then over in African countries, and then down, in South America, you think, well, you have to think more about this grain and the migration of it, and how many. And, I mean, even in Southern culture right now, people eat rice with everything and for almost every meal, and and in my studies, I'm just kind of delving deeper into the importance of this grain and how it traveled and why certain strands died out and things like that. So that's not my in-depth perception of like how important rice is, but it's also a very versatile grain, and you can do lots of things with it. You can manipulate it into being crackers, bread, a dessert, right? A side dish, a main dish. So it's one of those things that people don't think about, how important it is. What would we do in life without rice right now?
Right. Yeah. We don't think about it as much. If you were to make just the quintessential Chef Dawn dish, something that maybe Top Chef fans at home didn't get to see.
At one time, a beautiful scallop dumpling, an exo that was made with lapsang sausage, the Chinese sausage, and a nori butter, and that dish is complex. It's hearty. I think that that's one dish that I would like to share with people that I did not get a chance to share with.
Yeah,
on the show. Yeah.
The complex, hearty, beautiful scallop dish.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yes.
So that brings me to what you're working on now. Mm-hmm. So tell me, you've got a restaurant opening very soon in Houston.
The restaurant that Chef Chris Williams and I are opening, it's called Late August.
Yep.
It will open later this year or very early next year. It is named Late August because it is opening in a historic Sears building.
Oh, cool.
And Late August pays homage to the catalog and when it would come out. And it would come out, and you were born in the 70s and 80s, they would come out like right before school started, and also, advertising things for the holiday season that you would want as a gift. It kind of speaks to the nostalgia of that moment. Like as a kid, you love that catalog, and you're laying on your stomach on the floor, leafing through it and dogging your pages for your parents to see. Yeah, and so that's pretty much what the name means for us.
What a clever name. I love that. I just got that feeling now. Even hearing it of like that, both what you were going to get and what you were dreaming of getting someday, right?
Exactly.
That's incredible. And can you share with us any of the food you're thinking of cooking for this? What kind of cuisine?
Yeah, so it will be global comfort food with touches on African diaspora and also the intersections between the Asian and African cultures, like where there's some similarities, where they lie.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're going to see some rice.
So we'll see some rice. We'll see lots of rice and rice manipulations. We'll see sauces like shito, and we'll see animal skins. Like I'm going to play a little bit with animal skins that are not normally eaten by Americans, but all other cultures, Africans, Malaysians, they eat like beef skin, for example.
Wow. Okay.
And so I'm going to play with manipulating that and puffing it and making chicharrones out of beef skin and lamb skin and things like that. Just snacky things.
That is cool.
Snacks.
Snacky things. Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I saw you on your Instagram making some puffed, I think it was chicharrones.
Those were made out of rice.
They were? Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I'm excited about that. This sounds like stuff that we've not had on a restaurant menu yet. Right when you think you run out of food, there's like always somebody else creative coming along.
I'm looking for other things, and I'm pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
So I like to take a simple concept and just kind of figure out a different way that I can make it, or a different ingredient that I can, create something crunchy, for example, out of. What can that be? And so I search for that.
One of my favorite parts of opening restaurants was the small wares order. Have you thought about your Late August catalog of small wares and what you're going to order?
I mean, the list is almost
it's like the best. It's the best least part. Talked about part of opening a restaurant is like ordering ramekins.
Yes. So I'm planning a couple meetings when I get back to Houston just to go over that. But I have to first complete some things on the menu first before I can visit that to make sure I have everything covered.
That's a good chef. Who picks the menu before the vessel? Yes.
I know. It's like you can't fall in love with a vessel and you don't have anything to put in it. You just have a vessel.
See, that's why I was front of house, because I was like, Chef, look at this beautiful vessel. And he'd be like,
right. Don't get me wrong. I have a tendency to do that. But this is me talking to myself. You cannot pick that vessel if you don't have anything.
There are just so many beautiful just things in a restaurant to think about: the glassware, the vessel for the dish, the forks, the knives, everything that's going to come together with that food, and all those different people are so important in the restaurant. It's such an exciting part. And I am just thrilled because I could see you lighting up right now. This is going to be late August as soon as it opens. Houston, Texas. Get there. If I know you, I feel like you're going to change the menu quite a bit too. So we got to come multiple times.
I'm going to intentionally change it because we're going to be very seasonal.
Oh, great.
And we will afford ourselves the opportunity to do so by also growing our own product.
Let's talk about Lucille's Project 1913. You've distributed 300,000 meals to folks in need in your community. And now there's a program on pickling and preserving and reducing waste. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about Lucille's Project 1913.
Lucille's 1913 is a nonprofit that was built and established by Chef Chris Williams, and it's under Lucille's Hospitality Group.
Yeah.
It is run by Chef Lawrence Walker and his supporting team. I am just so proud of the work we're doing right now. As you said, we've been able to provide over 300,000 meals for communities in need. And we are working our way toward becoming a zero waste entity by taking some of our overages and by creating a pipeline for our overages.
Yeah.
I established a fermentation lab under the umbrella, and we are going to take the ingredients that we grow from our farmland and designate them to the fermentation lab. And then we're also going to take our overages and pickle them and ferment them and give them back to communities in a more shelf-stable way.
I think it's something the guest would love to know more about, too. I worked at this restaurant once that used to take the bar fruit that didn't get used, and they'd make citrus sardines. And it was like, people love those stories. So it's so exciting that you're going to be able to do this fermenting and canning thing, which is becoming a lost art. But now folks like you are like really bringing it to the forefront again.
Exactly. I mean, it's just a way to not only minimize waste, but to either capture foods in season at their prime, or give people a more shelf-stable way of eating a product that you'd like to help them with by meeting a need, which is give them some food. You take away a person's opportunity to get food, and you take away a lot, like confidence in this society, and
happiness,
and
the ability to do anything else. Employment suffers, infant mortality rate suffers. We could get real dark.
Yes, we can go there. But so we're looking to change this, and in small increments at a time. Of course they're learning curves, right?
Sure.
We have to make sure that we tell the people how to use the things that we're growing for them,
right?
And then we have to meet them where they are and give them things that they know how to eat and will want to eat.
Right.
But we will be working toward that in our plan. And with that being said, we have about 3 acres of farmland that will be devoted to late August.
Oh, that's great.
And I'll be able to grow all my special little things that I would like to grow, like the little peppers and bean legumes and little cute little vegetables.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cute little vegetables and animal skins, rice and all the beauty.
Yes, and all the things.
Gold, dripping in opulence. I love it. In other super exciting news, when I was preparing for this interview, I was like, oh my gosh, we have 17 different categories of things that you're trying to do at one time, and you're doing them all so well. Mm-hmm. You recently semifinalist for the James Beard Awards, and you have some news about a dinner coming up that you're going to be working on.
Chef Chris and I will be hosting the James Beard Award in Texas. It's the only one in the state, I believe. We are serving as our regional representatives.
Wow.
And I think it's great. It's going to be fun.
So people can tune in to watch that live. It'll be live on their Twitter channel, September 27th. And you can follow James Beard's Twitter at Beard Foundation. If you want to check out the Houston show and see what's going on September 27th. Outside of the awards and the restaurants and the community work that you're doing, where do you see yourself in the future? Just you as the person. What do you see coming for you? Yeah, we can define ourselves so much by our work. Some rest. I
would love some rest. I mean, and it's not an easy thing for me to say.
Yeah.
But I've also learned that, through wisdom that, a rested body is a better functioning body. And a rested mind is better functioning. So I just need to kind of make that more of a priority. And that time will come.
I love that answer. Honestly, I ask everyone I interview that question, and their answer is always rest.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that we want the most, and we identify the most with success means now I can rest, and so many folks don't take it. So you got to take that rest time.
You do. I think that once you get to a certain point in your life, you can schedule your rest better.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I think that not that we ever want to, because we are go-getters and we want to do the very next thing that's on our list of things to do. But I hope to be able to balance my life a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another question I had for you was about vision haze. As a food entrepreneur and a leader in the culinary industry, you're at the height of your game. Everybody wants a piece of you. How do you keep from getting vision haze? When do you know it's time to say no?
I don't.
Don't. Yeah.
Yes, I don't.
Next question.
Oh, no, I don't. And I was like, what is vision haze? I don't know. So, no, I don't. I mean, because I'm one of those people that will try to always say yes, and I don't yet know or fully understand the power of no, but I will educate myself, and then maybe you can ask me this in 6 months, and I'll have a better answer for you.
Perfect. I will. You know, as the restaurant industry is building back better and we're understanding, and I think there's so much more power in the restaurant industry to sort of train the guest on what we expect from them as a guest now, and to say, this is the food that I cook. And, you know, remember how y'all had to cook for yourself for 18 months? I don't think we want to do that anymore. So we have all this power to really make it the industry that we want to. How do you believe the industry can narrow the gap on racial equity, which seems to still be something that is so outstanding and was exacerbated by the pandemic?
We can start by our own systems that we develop within our entities, right? And we can make sure that we're doing what we need to do underneath our rules, our own rules, and to make sure that people know what's right and what's wrong, and how people should be treated. I think that we set our own culture, our own rules in our respective restaurants, and as long as we're doing the right thing in the building, it will be something that can permeate the building. But until we fix what we're doing inside, you know, we can't really. I don't know that there's a possibility there, but there's definitely hope when we can do that.
Starting with your house,
yes.
Then your neighbors, your guests, the people coming to your house.
Yes.
Then maybe they'll tell people who come to their house it's the same, and building it out organically from that way.
That's true change. I think that will invoke true change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Chef, here we go. We're going to go into the speed round.
Okay.
What food trend do you wish would just end? Foams?
Yes.
Absolutely. What is the most underappreciated spice in the pantry?
Allspice.
Allspice?
Yes.
Do you cook at home?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do. I like 2 to 3 times a week.
Wow, great. What is the most requested dish from your family?
A crab boil.
Crab boil.
Yes.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I bet your crab boil is killer. Is there anything you won't eat?
I don't like dill.
Dill.
Yeah.
Dump the dill. Absolutely.
And I feel bad because I know it has a place in this world. It's just not on my plate.
It's not on your plate.
Yeah.
I feel that. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
One? Just one?
Just one.
2. How about 2?
Okay.
Edna Lewis and Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, wow. Those are good ones. Absolutely. Oh, Miss Lewis. Is there a dish from your past that you wish you could eat just one more time?
Yes. I used to have dinners with my coach. They used to have a restaurant. They were Mandarin, and she used to make this crazy delicious kind of raw potato salad.
Oh,
that was mind blowing. Like I didn't understand. I know the vinegar made it the way that it was, but I've tried several times to recreate it and it failed horribly. I would say that specific dish, and then all the other dishes that she made for me were life-changing for me.
Wow, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Is a hot dog a sandwich or no?
You know what? I don't want to say yes, but
it kind of is.
But it kind of is. It kind of is. Like if you think about a cheesesteak in the form of a cheesesteak and you call it a sandwich, and the beef is in the bun, like the hot dog is in the bun.
You heard it here first. Hot dog is a sandwich. What are you listening to right now? What kind of music do you have on?
Oh, I am heavily engulfed in Anderson .Paak right now.
Oh, nice.
Yes, okay. I just can't seem to let it go. There's lots of other music. There's lots to listen to, but he's my go-to right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Any books or movies, podcasts?
I love this one.
Of course.
I love Opening Soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
And Gravy.
Yes.
Yeah, all of those are really nice podcasts. I have a couple of books, but right now in my bag, I think I have The Alchemist.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm all over the place.
All over the place. I want to give you a chance to shout out anyone that we didn't get. We only had this quick hour. Is there anyone that you want to shout out that we didn't get to talking about today that's doing great work that you want to bring attention to?
Just the team at home. It takes all of us to do what we do.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chef Chris, Robbie, EJ, Kang, Ruben, Lawrence, and our publicist team, Jalen and Amon, Jamie. I love you. Great job.
Top Chef Bestie.
Top Chef Bestie. Her food is amazing. I don't know if you know, but I went to the Black Sheep to work with her a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
A few weeks ago, yeah. And it was really fun to work the line with her again.
Oh, I bet.
I had the burns to prove it.
Yeah, you do.
And
it's full circle. We're back to the candy burns of childhood. They never go away.
They never go away. And it's okay. Like, you do what you love. And I did it then, too. And I made candy after I burnt myself. So, it just happens.
Persistence.
That's what it is. That's what it is. And it just, my family. Thank y'all for all your support. And let's go. We have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. It has been such a pleasure chatting with you, Dawn. I'm just fangirling, holding back my fangirl this whole interview. But I loved watching you on Top Chef. I loved, you could see the way that you were thinking, and it was just made the show move along so quickly and with such energy. And it wasn't a loud energy, but it was a powerful energy. And I think that is such a great example to set for some of the chefs who aren't trying to be like flashy out front, crazy guy all the time. Like, you can just be strong and persistent and also the fan favorite and the best. So
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you so much being here.
That's a great compliment. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much to Top Chef finalist Chef Dawn Burrell. If you didn't catch season 18, visit bravo.com. Something I loved hearing about was how good the food in the Olympic Village is. I also can't wait to check out Late August and learn more about Lucille's Project 1913. Thank you to Free People for supporting today's show. Don't miss the Cherry Bomb and Free People Summer Supper Club. Head to cherrybomb.com or freepeople.com to learn more. I had a blast filling in for Carrie today, meeting Chef Dawn and the crew here. You can find me at Under the Desk News on TikTok and Instagram. Radio Cherry Bomb is a production of Cherry Bomb Magazine. Want some more Cherry Bomb in your life? Sign up for our newsletter at cherrybomb.com. Love this episode? You can find Radio Cherry Bomb interviews with our other top chefs, including Padma Lakshmi and Melissa King, wherever you get your podcasts. Radio Cherry Bomb is recorded at Newsstand Studios at Rockefeller Center in New York City. Thank you to Joe Hazen, studio engineer for Newsstand Studios, and to our assistant producer, Jenna Sadhu. Thanks for listening, everybody. You're the bomb.
I'll have what she's having.